All right, let's talk about Nvidia. It's a company that's pretty hard to ignore these days, right? You could even say it's one of the most important companies on the planet. So today, we're going to do a deep dive. We'll look at their business, what gives them their edge, and of course, the risks every investor needs to be thinking about as we head into 2025. Let's jump in.
Okay, I want to start with just one number, $26 billion. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's their annual revenue? Nope, that's not for a year. That was their revenue for a single quarter. Just one, the first quarter of their 2025 fiscal year, to be exact. I mean, that's a staggering figure, and it really just hammers home how critical this company has become to, well, to everything.
But you know, to really get what NVIDIA is all about, you have to look past the crazy numbers and listen to its founder, Jensen Huang. He has this amazing way of describing the company. He says NVIDIA is a simulation company. And look, that's not just some slick marketing line. That idea, simulating worlds, physics, and even intelligence, that's literally the DNA of the company. It's what drives every single thing they do.
So that brings us to the big questions, right? How on earth did a company that was famous for making video games look cool become the absolute bedrock of the entire AI revolution? And maybe more importantly for us, what does the future hold for investors?
Well, to figure that out, we've got to rewind the clock. We have to go back to the beginning. Because that journey, from just rendering pixels on a screen to powering the AI that is changing our world, that is the story of NVIDIA.
For a long, long time, this is what everyone thought of when you said NVIDIA, the GeForce graphics card. If you were a serious PC gamer, you had one. It wasn't just another part in your computer, it was the engine, the very heart of your rig. These cards were constantly pushing the limits of what was possible, making these incredible, immersive 3D worlds reality for millions of people.
So this timeline shows a really critical moment. They made a name for themselves with that first GPU back in '99. But the real game changer, that came in 2006. And it wasn't a piece of hardware, it was software. It was called CUDA. Think of it like this brilliant key that unlocked the secret power of the GPU. All of a sudden, its ability to just crunch thousands of calculations at the same time could be used for, well, for anything, not just video games. And that one decision, right there, that's what laid the groundwork for the AI explosion and created the data center beast we see today.
Okay, so fast forward to today, late 2025. How did all that history shape the company we see now? Let's get into what NVIDIA actually does and where all that money is coming from.
So, at its heart, NVIDIA's mission is pretty straightforward. They build the tools, the hardware, and the software to solve problems that your average computer just can't handle. It's like they're building these supercharged jet engines for the world's most difficult computational tasks. And right now, what's the biggest, toughest job out there? It's AI.
The company today is really broken down into four main parts. First, you've got the data center business. This is the big one, the undisputed star of the show. It's what powers all the AI and cloud computing. Then there's gaming, which is still their foundation, serving that huge base of PC fans. You've also got professional visualization, that's for designers, engineers, creators, and finally, automotive, which is really their long-term bet on self-driving cars.
And yeah, this chart right here, this tells you everything you need to know about the modern NVIDIA. Just look at it. The data center business, pulling in over $22 billion. It doesn't just lead the pack, it absolutely dwarfs everything else put together. I mean, it grew an unbelievable 427% year over year. So let's be crystal clear. NVIDIA still does other things, but today, it is an AI data center company, period.
You don't get to be this dominant by accident. It just doesn't happen. It's protected by a really powerful competitive advantage, what investors like to call a moat. So what exactly is NVIDIA's moat? What's their secret sauce?
It really all boils down to one thing, CUDA. This is the core of their genius. See, they figured out a long time ago that it's not just about having the fastest chip. It's about building the entire software world around that chip. A whole generation of AI developers and researchers learn their craft on CUDA. So for them, switching to a competitor's chip isn't as simple as just swapping out a piece of hardware. It's like asking an entire industry to suddenly start speaking a different language. It's a massively powerful, super sticky advantage.
And they doubled down on that software advantage with what's called a full-stack strategy. So NVIDIA isn't just trying to sell you a processor. No way. They sell you the entire solution, the whole server, the networking that connects it all, and all the software perfectly tuned to work together right out of the box. If you're a big company trying to get into AI, buying this complete package is just so much easier than trying to piece it all together yourself.
And of course, you can't talk about NVIDIA's moat without talking about the guy in the leather jacket, founder and CEO Jensen Huang. Think about this. He's led the company since day one, all the way back in 1993. That kind of stability is practically unheard of in tech, and it's allowed them to make these super patient, long-term bets like CUDA that took years to pay off, but in the end completely changed the game for everyone.
Okay, but no company is invincible. No moat is unbreakable. So to really get the full picture, we have to talk about the serious challenges NVIDIA is up against. And there are some big ones, from global politics all the way to major courtroom battles.
Let's look at this data from a few years back, fiscal 2020. It shows a really critical risk that's been there for a while. Back then, China was a massive market for Nvidia. But since then, US export rules have completely changed that picture. It's forced Nvidia to navigate this super complex, always changing political mess. And when you add in the fact that they depend heavily on manufacturing in Taiwan, well, you can see how their global supply chain becomes a pretty big vulnerability.
And it's not just geopolitics. The company is also fighting some big legal battles. There's a shareholder lawsuit about how they reported revenue from crypto mining in the past, and that case has gone all the way to the Supreme Court. But maybe even bigger is a lawsuit from a group of authors. They claim their copyrighted books were used to train Nvidia's AI without permission. Now that case could have huge consequences for the entire AI industry. The outcomes of these lawsuits, they create a lot of financial and legal uncertainty, for sure.
So where does all this leave us? You've got this incredible, dominant company on one side, but on the other, you have these very, very real challenges. For an investor, what does the road ahead even look like? This really is the billion-dollar question, or maybe trillion-dollar question, that every investor has to ask themselves. On one hand, Nvidia is sitting right at the heart of the biggest tech shift we've seen in decades. But at the same time, they're facing more competition, more regulation, and these serious legal threats. So the question is, can this incredible, phenomenal growth actually keep going?
So here's how to think about it. The opportunity ahead is just immense. I mean, the rest of the business world is really just getting started with AI, and Nvidia is already pushing into brand new areas like quantum computing. So the potential for more growth is absolutely there. But, and this is a big but, the risks are just as real. Competitors are scrambling to catch up, the supply chain is a constant worry, and the whole political and regulatory world is a minefield. For any investor looking at Nvidia, it's all about understanding that balance. The balance between this massive opportunity and some very significant risks. That's the key.
Learn, invest, repeat. Investing made understandable.